Taylor Swift knew everything. She knew that lawsuit was coming. She knew she was suing. She knew she stole Jan Abel's phone. She knew she was reading text messages that weren't hers. But somehow she and her PR wanted to convince us all she did was lend some music to this production. Girl, you were all up and through the strategy of this. You were all up and through the strategy of smearing this man and his studio. Everything we ever wanted, we got. We got pictures, videos, text, emails, receipts, timeline, proof. My brain is not mine any longer. My eyes are no longer mine. I don't know how I'm awake. Grab a snack. Meet me on the other side. We have some interesting things to catch up on. F around and find out. Hello there, beautiful people, and welcome back to a brand new episode of F Around and Find Out. I'm still your host, Elsie. I might be in zombie mode, but it's still me, and I appreciate you for coming back. We have everything that we could have possibly dreamed of. When I say the great unsealing happened, and it happened in a big way, I cannot exaggerate. I'm sure you all have seen the docket now. You've been on lives, you've been on other people's videos, you've seen what they have. It's a lot. And the only way I can possibly process this is if I do it in bits, right? I couldn't even process doing a live because I've told you guys 100 times, I'm a person who has to understand what I'm reading, right? I have to read, I have to understand it before I can have a conversation around it, right? I didn't want to stumble over my words. So I spent the better part of yesterday trying to understand what was happening and seeing the evidence come through and assigning the proper emotions to some of the things. We're mainly going to tackle the real substances of Taylor Swift text messages in this video, right? We have those, so we're going to look at all of them in this video. But before that, just so we get it out of the way, I wanted to first bring attention to this picture that TMZ had posted earlier in the day yesterday. So TMZ had started reporting on the birth scene video, and they posted this picture and then blurred out Blake Lively's thigh, like her back thigh, almost as if to say you could see her cootie cat. They blurred that out and said Blake Lively says Justin Baldoni humiliated her, and it ends with us birth scene. Now Blake is talking about the fact that she was supposedly naked. You are not. This is what she says in her complaint. The day of shooting the scene in which Miss Lively's character gives birth, Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath suddenly pressured Miss Lively to simulate full nudity, despite no mention of nudity for the scenes in the script, her contract, or in previous creative discussions. Mr. Baldoni insisted to Miss Lively that women give birth naked and that his wife had ripped her clothes off during labor. He claims it was not normal for women to remain in their hospital gowns while giving birth. Miss Lively disagreed, but felt forced into a compromise that she would be naked from below the chest down. I'm laughing because I've given birth. A lot of you watching have. Even people who haven't given birth have seen somebody give birth. You know what? I'm going to show you this picture, right, of Blake Lively in the birth scene. And please tell me where she's naked at. Point that out to me. She said she was only left to be covered with like a thin piece of fabric. When the birth scene was filmed, the set was chaotic, crowded, and utterly lacking in standard industry protections for filming nude scenes. You were not nude. Such as choreographing the scene with an intimacy coordinator, having a signed nudity writer, or simply turning off monitors so the scene was not broadcast to all crew on set. Mr. Heath and Mr. Baldoni also failed to close the set, allowing non-essential crew to pass through while Miss Lively was mostly nude with her legs spread wide in the stirrups. So she wants to paint this picture for you that she was nude. Keep in mind, the stomach you're seeing, not Blake Lively's stomach. That's a prosthetic. Her chest is covered. She is in a hospital gown. When you're giving birth, which she has done 4 times, this is what it looks like. You don't get to keep your gown over your legs. Your legs do come apart. Your legs are not covered at this stage. Unless you're having a C-section, there's a drape. But even then, it's not like the doctor doesn't see what's down there. Also, Blake is not actually giving birth. It's a movie. There is not actually a child coming out of her hoo-ha. There's nothing coming out of there. This picture, again, is meant to paint an image for you that she's naked. This, however, is a still image from the production. That thin piece of fabric she's talking about are black briefs, black underwear. She's wearing underwear, not dissimilar to her wearing a bikini. If you can wear a bikini, post pictures on the internet, go to the beach, whatever, what is different about this position at your job? You're not in stirrups for nothing on the beach, like at a coffee shop. Right now, you're not Blake Lively. Right now, you are Lily Bloom at job in character, given birth. If it requires you to wear black briefs, tiny black briefs to where it looks like you're actually simulating the birthing process, and you're wearing a prosthetic belly and you're wearing a hospital gown with a doctor in between your legs ready to catch said baby, I'm sorry, that's the job. You check the box. You signed up for it. But leave it to Blake Lively to sexualize that. All that picture was meant to do is to rile people up. Let's be honest. But I have a question for Blake Lively, because we have now seen her PGA mark request. We're going to talk about that in another video. I just want to mention a quick little thing. She says 100 times, I was in charge of wardrobe, production, directing, marketing, promotion. I was in charge of everything. So since you say you were in charge of everything and you say you directed every actor, she says that multiple times in multiple places, why didn't you direct yourself to wear something other than black briefs? You said you were in charge, right? You wanted a PGA mark. You did everything. In fact, you told your friends Justin was a doofus and he did nothing for that movie. It was all you. So I say you sue you for wearing that thin piece of fabric, aka underwear, to give birth, simulated, bizarre. And in the spirit of Blake Lively's PGA mark and all the things she said she did, somebody pulled up this perfect AI generated IMDb, whatever page, and I thought it was pretty amazing. Director, writer, star, cast, top cast, everything. Blake Lively. And if I'm a lawyer, that is all the evidence I'm showing a jury. But they don't even need to do all of that because we have plenty evidence through the text messages. Let's look at some of the Taylor Swift text messages now. Now, throughout these text messages, when Blake and Ryan are texting people, you're going to hear them call Justin a clown, green, doofus, stupid, a bitch, everything, like I said, but a child of God. Harasser, never one of them. Sexual harasser, never one of them. Isn't that something? So Blake texts Taylor here. If you get here with this doofus director of my movie and he's still here, I'll be ushering him out, but hope he's still here. Can you do me a huge favor? I need help with him. Can you tell him you're excited for the movie, that you read the book, but what you're freaking out over is the pages I sent you? What a magnetic scene that is, or whatever descriptives you're comfortable with. I'll send you the scene. You don't have to read, of course. It's a quick read. He's a clown and thinks he's a writer now and got this rewrite and told me he appreciates my passion. That's it. So having the greatest living storyteller unknowingly echo to him how much you love what we're doing, giving him credit as if he wrote them with me, will go such a long way. And then Blake says, you dug a movie out of the grave for me once already. I'm thinking a simple favor because apparently Paul Feig didn't really want to do that movie. Blake sends the script and Taylor responds, I'll do anything for you. Blake responds, I love you, thank you, text me when you're on your way, I'll have Molly meet you and security in the garage. Headed your way, I'm on your street, see you soon, Sophia is headed down now. This is the follow-up text later that evening. I'm guessing everything went well. Taylor was able to act her ass off because we read this yesterday, but this is the full context. Blake now responds back to Taylor, you were so epically heroic today. I recapped every moment to Ryan. I kept remembering stuff. You making shit up about me and lenses and referring to yourself as my doll. This clown falling for all of it, but also resisting it. You are the world's absolute greatest friend ever. I won the lottery. Taylor now responds, I won the lottery in all caps. You're the coolest person in the world and you like me. It's looking like Taylor doesn't have enough friends. Because what? And then Blake Lively sends this Aladdin picture and something from iCloud. And then I think this response, something happened in that apartment and it had to go something like Blake trying to get Justin to grovel and like fawn all over Taylor, or they were expecting him to fawn all over Taylor and Justin be like, I'm not really into pop culture like that, so I don't really know your music. Like, I don't really know your stuff, pretty much. Like, I mean, you're Taylor Swift, but I don't know your stuff like that, which that's a lot of the population, believe it or not. Regardless of how many Swifties, you know, there are in the world, there are a lot of people who I don't know jack about the woman. Again, I've told you guys this before. You put a pew pew to my head and you say name 5 Taylor Swift songs. I'm sorry, I'm not gonna make it out. You're gonna have to take me with you. I'm guessing something like that happened because Blake texts Taylor. The most bonkers part to me is him saying to you he doesn't know pop culture made me more mad than anything he's done to me. Oh, so then you really were fine. There was no SH. His entire brand is this. His entire brand is disassembling toxic masculinity. He monetizes it. He does TED Talks, but says that to you. Not only is it rude, but it's untrue. The thing that enrages me is you are an absolute league. You're in an absolute league of your own in being both the most popular artist alive and of all time. That's not true, but okay. Did Mike of all time is crazy. But also the most respected and awarded. Also not true, but okay. Popularity doesn't normally coincide with laurels. In very few cases, it does. Steven Spielberg, for example, there's one. Do you think for a moment he would have felt comfortable saying that to him, even if he didn't know his work? You would never make a point to say that to Steven Spielberg about his work, that you don't know it because you don't know pop culture. And yet, Taylor Swift is Taylor Swift, and a lot of people feel that way. A lot of people know Taylor Swift, the caricature, the person, the celebrity. They don't know her work. It's facts. And I do think he would have said that, regardless if it's a man or a woman. I just think you're so up Taylor Swift's ass, you can't see your fucking next move. Then she writes, keep in mind at this point, Taylor's not responding. She writes again, I've been raging ever since, even though I know it all comes from what you said perfectly. He just so wants to be in the room, but has to act like he doesn't. I see it. I understand that it's the opposite day. I understand it's opposite day with him. He's so green. Again, green, doofus, clown, stupid. He's so green. He thinks that's what makes him cool enough to fit in, when in fact it's fucking enthusiasm, fandom, and respect for those killing it that shows you're confident with where you are in life. Blake still texting, no Taylor response. I've also been raging at the NYU thing. I honestly want to retroactively take you out to dinner to celebrate that. You deserve to be studied. You're a human masterclass. Fuck yes, they see it. This is where it just gets creepy. I've been digging up hatches. I'll stop now. I love you and R and my babies and get more protective about your hearts than mine sometimes. I'm so at your big age, I'm so much less forgiving when it comes to someone messing with someone I love than when someone messes with me. I'm done. I just love you and so what? I just love you and I'm so ecstatic for you and grateful for you today. That was stupid fun. Blake Lively texts Taylor, by the way, I have so much to tell you. The author Colleen reached out to me because Justin is on an internal smear campaign trying to get his edit through. She was horrified and reached out on her own to talk to me. It's almost as if you're trying to convince yourself that's what happened. Turns out he fucking lied. She's not Baha'i. He's never said she was. Never has been. She's not friends with him at all. She actually hates him. She was his safety net all along. Meanwhile, he shut her out and wouldn't include her in anything and told her she had no voice or value, yet paraded her in front of cameras for goodwill and told us all that all his decisions he got pushed back on were her ideas. Wild. She flew to New York, where I screened my cut of the film for the first time yesterday. It killed in the room. Bradley came, he watched it twice. So now we know Colleen Hoover was there. Bradley came, he watched it twice. He has been an absolute fucking hero. He has made me feel so good about the cut. Matt and Lucy Damon saw it, gave notes, and instead just wrote Tom Rothman to try to push my edit through without a bake-off with Justin, which is also what Colleen is pushing for. It's wild and crazy times. So again, your work is not doing the talk for you. You're gathering celebrity friends and making them write to Sony to make Sony take your cut. Okay. Then Taylor responds, no one should ever get into a war of wills with you. Okay, girl. And then she says, I'm so excited to see it. Blake says, anytime you have free time, I'll send it to you. It's actually a fun watch now. The domestic violence movie is a fun watch. Taylor is still texting Blake at this point. Oh my God, just saw your above text. Gonna watch now. Oh my God, it's amazing. I'm so sorry I was in a daze and didn't see the first text. Wow, I love how they use the song. Welcome to Hollywood, Justin. Okay, he was already there. He was already there. He literally is at the same agency as you guys. Blake writes back, I'm not okay. I can't breathe. I'm obsessed with you. I guess with Taylor saying she liked it. I've never felt more like Khaleesi. I have dragons. Taylor was aware of the dragon comment. Except my dragons are bred with Cersei herself. Creepy and just weird, especially if you know Cersei's all about incest. That's just a weird thing to say. Taylor responds, I'm just picturing you muttering Dracarys, and then I fire of those texts to Austin. I don't know if that's her brother. By the way, if Justin was strategic, we talked about this yesterday, he would be like, no Taylor Swift in the trailer. Interesting. So you were part of the strategy. You knew that was a strategic move because that gives you more power of the film. That's your ally, not his. Blake writes, get yourself a best friend who thinks like the actual Roman Empire. Taylor writes, his misogyny runs so deep, he thinks women are incapable of winning chess matches or making long game power plays. So we agree Blake Lively was playing the long game. Okay, I love that we're coming to an understanding finally. Blake writes, you're so right and so wickedly smart to call it. He should have run from your music. I never thought about that, but holy shit, how stupid. This was his only shot at having the appearance of an upper hand. There are still a few text messages from Taylor we're still waiting to get, but we're going to end on this one. And this gets good because this is December 4th, where Taylor kind of was feeling a kind of way towards Blake. She says, hey, just checking in. I have no reason to ask, but I don't know. I've been feeling like I should. Is everything okay? I feel like a bad friend lately because I was such a sad sack who only talked about my own shit for months. You were generous to not only be the key person there for me during all of it, but also to let me off the hook for being so in it. But I still have a feeling something may not be right. I told Ryan, he says to ask you, but I felt so stupid and like it sounded needy and awkward for everyone, especially because I can't explain why I have this feeling. And you know, I have toxic masculinity. Okay, so I can be needy, but also I do want to know everything is good. So I'm asking. I always want the opportunity to be a better friend. If there's something I unintentionally did, I know how busy you and taxed you are physically, emotionally, practically. So I don't expect any more from you ever. Just want to make sure all is good. He can't possibly have been taxed so much from just the conversation with Justin, right? Unless, of course, she helped you along the way with your strategy. She helped you along the way with your article with the New York Times. Like it was suggested, she set up that Ronan interview with you. So I'm assuming that's correct. Taylor writes back, no, you're not wrong, but it's also not a big deal. I think I've just been exhausted in every avenue of my life. And in recent months had been feeling a little bit a shift in a way you talk to me. Yes, there has been a lot of Justin stuff, but I've been through things like this before and I know how all consuming it is. It's more like, and I feel really bad saying anything about this because your texts have been so nice in their intent, but your last few, it's felt like I was reading a mass corporate email sent to 200 employees. You said the word we like 18 times, and and it feels awful to be in any way critical of any way you process what you've been going through. But I just kind of miss my funny, dark, normal speaking friend who talks to me as herself, not like a plural unit. When it's a group, I'm hearing from, I feel distant from you even more than we are geographically. And I know you feel attacked from all sides for ridiculous reasons. So you're feeling like you have to overly explain things and be overly nice or whatever, but it's me. Just that's just caused a little distance and a lot of stuff is redacted there. And you don't need to apologize. Just come back, please. That to me felt a little honest, like a little friend honest. And then Blake responds back at 1:58 a.m. She writes back, dear valued customer, she's being funny there. Dear value customer, thank you for your feedback. We at headquarters are reviewing your concerns and will get back to you in a timely manner. For real though, you're right. I literally deleted the awful thing I was going to end that bit with because I have become digitally paranoid. I don't know if you've experienced that with phone calls after what happened to you, but after the thousands of text messages that weren't meant for me that I've been reading, I've internalized that everything digital may be public. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't have been doing that. Yeah, so maybe let's not steal people's phones and read text messages that are not meant for us. I've internalized that everything digital may be made public. I say that knowing it's irrational, but my brain can accept rationale there. So yeah, I've been texting like I'm writing, not like me talking. I didn't realize that until you pointed it out, but I see it. On top of that, I'm overpacking simple things because I felt so deeply misunderstood and I don't trust my judgment of myself anymore. That sounds over the top, but it's true. This fucking guy and what he did to me gave me an identity crisis legitimately. She's talking about the campaign, by the way, saying people smeared her. She's not worried about anything else. The thing that spooked me the most through all of this wasn't the bad guys being bad guys. It was the good guys, my lifelong friends, allies to women who quietly dipped because they know who you really are. That's why they dipped. And so I'm probably being over the top with my friends who stayed because I've never felt more alone. The track is very violent heavy. I hate it. Point is, I'm being a stupid paranoid weirdo and felt it, but didn't know where or how or when. So thank you for telling me and for saving and for saying I don't need to apologize and for not making it a big deal. But I am sorry to you and I'm sorry to me and to our kids. What? Fuck that guy and fuck his whole gaggle of supervillains. Fuck you too. Thank you. You've got enough on you. You don't need to write back to all of this. Just letting you know I see it. And thank you. I'm excited for you to be done with suitcases, constant sinus infections, and torn up kneecaps. So close. Your submissions will be processed shortly. We thank you again for your patronage, Blake Inc. Again, she's still being funny. Taylor writes back, first paragraph took me out. If only I sent you the unplugged version. I sent you a voice memo, but it doesn't show on a thread, which is really helping my case of not trusting phones. Did it go through? Taylor says, yes, I'm falling asleep, but I'll listen to it tomorrow. Love you. Is the length of a mini series. But Justin sent you a voice note at night. Okay, never mind. XX, love you. Then Taylor hit her with a, I think this bitch knows something is coming because he's gotten out his tiny violin. Taylor sends this article saying Justin Baldoni reveals he was sexually traumatized by an ex-girlfriend when he was hoping to save himself for marriage. Blake writes back, it rings different when he doesn't end the story by saying, did I always listen when they said no, like he did with me, but that must not have tested well in a focus group. He's being honored at a Vital Voices for Women event on Monday. Taylor says, this is so disgusting, and I hate that he's clever about this shit. Blake says, this inspiring event celebrates men who are using their platform, influence, and leadership to elevate women, combat gender-based violence, and promote gender equality worldwide. Taylor says, well, not him, her. He's not. He's just a team. Yeah, her and the publicist and his publicist, Jen Abel, and the comms people at his studio. He needs to be eaten by his own words, says Taylor. Blake says, everyone weighs in before we respond to a text, writes an email, or trims his hair. It's wild. Everyone participates. Because again, at this point, she's seeing they were coordinating, like making sure everything he put out there was correct. Blake says, yeah, I actually think it's important he's honored, and to all of the people honoring him and not taking a moment to question. No one talks to him. No one will say his name. No one follows him yet. They're all close with each other. Maybe it was him. Nah, it was the women because they wore flowers. That's how you know. Taylor says, Jesus Christ, is everything still on track? She says, oh, yes. A week later, though, but it's worth the wait. Taylor says, okay, that's perfect. His own words, that's going to be powerful. This is the proof that Taylor knew the lawsuit was coming. She knew Blake was in the back working on the lawsuit, because that's what they're talking about now in December of 2024. That's wild about the entire thing. Everything in their own words is the only way to beat liars and hypocrites, Taylor says. I'm glad you feel that way, Taylor, because that's what's happening right now. Blake writes, can you imagine feeling as confident as these predators that you're going to always get away with it? Him accepting an award as an ally for women, and Scooter going about the world with his head held high as he co-owns and funds crisis PR that silences women. Blake had to slide Scooter in there for Taylor to feel riled up, right? She says, it's like a horror film no one knows is taking place. The good that protects other women from this happening to them. Meanwhile, I walk around feeling like a death sentence, guilty and apologetic for being sarcastic and liking a theme party. Now, there's definitely going to be more messages that we're going to get our hands on between now and tomorrow, things that need to come off Pacer, right? They haven't been unblocked yet, so I can't get my hands on it. So far, it is absolutely damning. It is crazy, the information coming out. And Taylor all this time throughout the summer, her PR people telling us Taylor has nothing to do with anything. All she did was lend her song to the movie. She knew nothing about strategy, was all a big fat lie. What I can't seem to understand is, did Taylor play Wayfair? Did Taylor play Brian Friedman? Because how in the hell did she get away from sitting down for a deposition if these were the text messages? She must have played them. I just can't prove it. I have to figure that out. But these messages are wild and they continue to come. We're going to tackle, like I said, in groups, because this is almost a 30-minute video now and it's just Taylor messages, right? Brennan Sklenar has messages where it gets crazy. Jenny Slate, Colleen Hoover, Isabella Ferris deposition. I'm working on that with Carol to bring it to you guys. Jenny Slate's deposition, Colleen Hoover's deposition, Brennan Sklenar. I mean, it's a mess, right? It's a gaggle and it's a mess. And I can't wait to bring it to you guys after we've broken everything down and we create a big picture. But it's unbelievable information coming out of this release, and I can't wait for us to get to it. I appreciate you for being here. Please remember to like, share, subscribe, leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day. Bye-bye.